this has become an existential threat in which we are seeing levels of collusion between both public and private officials in whose hands our destiny has been given in trust. And I think anyone who talks about citizen action does not understand the complexity of the criminal networks that underpin galamsey and the transnational organized criminality, leading to illicit financial flows out of Ghana, leading to the deliberate flouting of state rules, leading to challenging and undermining our notions of some of our cultural beliefs. Where are the gods of the rivers when they can be polluted this way? So this galamsey, and I agree 100% with the previous speaker, must be handled the way it ought to. We've got to call a spade a spade. I think we've tinkered with it for far too long. Public officials, private officials, chiefs, local level government officials, those who use the word citizen action, forget that those small boys and girls who are involved first are seeking their livelihoods, but secondly, they are funded by Chinese, Burkinabes, Indians, Turks, in which the gold that they are panning are funding other criminal activities in West Africa and much further Africa. This is an existential threat, and I think it is the failure of our institutions and leaders that they are reluctant to declare it as such. We are on the verge, a cutting-edge verge of tipping over into something that we will not be able to go back.
Prof, you are not saying this the first time, and I can recall the number of times we have had you in the last how many years, and you continue to use the expression existential threat. And if it's getting worse, then what is it? We just give up? Is that what we are doing?
No, we shouldn't give up. And I think I'm horribly disappointed with Dr. Pacho when he lambasts the MP. Yes, they faulted. But when their own government was in power, their actions were disastrous. People deliberately got involved and bought equipment when these mines or when this equipment was. This has gone beyond politics. Politics is too serious a business to be left for politicians. And they realize the importance of the voices that are coming up. Too little, too late, but nevertheless useful. I mean, institutions have issued statements. Where were they when this problem started? Why have people kept so quiet so long? Because of their fancy positions, because of their Cap 71 benefits. The levels of hypocrisy that we've demonstrated in our beloved Ghana shows to me that when we raise our voices and sing the national anthem, we don't even mean it. We don't understand the words in it. We don't understand the rights and the duty that we have as Ghanaians, never to allow this to governance. Okay, we shut up. And right now, cocoa is under threat. Our basic food sources are under threat. We can barely get water to drink. Okay, and institutions have sat on the sidelines and benefited. Rules and regulations have been made that undermines institutions. Okay, this is a collective failure that has brought us to where we are. And probably we have about 3 to 5 more years before we have a total collapse of the state.
Prof, we understood in the lead up to the 2016 elections that the government had actually commissioned a certain report into this, and at the time was intending to use that as the blueprint for the solution. And then the NPP started to do the propaganda that both parties do. That you're going to lose your jobs because NDC is coming to do ABC with those of you who are into small-scale mining and the rest of them. And so, for their political survival, they shelved that report. Well, they lost elections anyway. In 2017, soon after the government came in, we became aware of a BNI report, a 31-page BNI confidential report that listed about 400 towns and villages, excluding the Volta region and Accra, where galamsey was actively going on with the active connivance of chiefs, state officials, MPs, politicians, and so on and so forth. So they have what it takes. They know the problem. How do we get the solution?
No, Samson, when you know the extent of the problem, but you've polluted and your hands are tainted, you cannot act. Because we've seen quite a number of these companies mining in forest reserves, also funding statutory institutions. Now, particularly when those institutions deal with security and intelligence and are supposed to carry out operations against these entities, then it raises several questions. One, what is the level of due diligence that is performed when people come bearing gifts? Two, how does the acceptance of those gifts taint the capacity of these institutions to deliver the public service goods of protecting the public interest? Okay, so we can do all the reports that we like. We can draw all the interlinkages. But so far as we are tainted by virtue of pollution and by extension dirtying our hands, then we don't have that integrity and the moral suasion to say we are going to punish. And therein lies my argument that we need something different, which I don't know. Because whoever wins the December 7th election does not have the gumption to take this facts to the galamsey.
Oh, really?
If the Intelligence Bureau was anything to go back, and we said, look, every single person who has offered himself or herself for public office, do an analysis and a background check in terms of their linkages to institutions, to companies, to groups that are threatening the survival of Ghana. Probably less than 20% of those people will survive.
All right.
This is a canker, and I agree with the gentleman in the blue that we are probably at cancer stage 4.5.